Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, DearJames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And par for the course, lots of action, intensity, and change. And it's all really culminating and building from this back when we had the super full moon, the last super full moon in Gemini. Then we had Neptune direct, and now upcoming we have the Sagittarius new moon that is coming up on Friday, and then on Sunday is the solstice, the December solstice. So there's a lot of energy, and we're going to cover the solstice next week. That'll be the final show for 2025, this 9-year. So let's stay where we are from the unseen. Welcome, Kiki. Welcome, Alicia. So here we have this very interesting, let's just get to the numbers and the astrology of it. So first off, we have 12. December's a 12th month, so that standstill release. It's that peduncle moment. We're right at that point before the cork pops and out, here comes the new. It's 17, following, be led, so show by example. And that's about your soul source connection. It's a 9-year. We're completing that. Small restraint, surrender. And then contemplation, which is an overview, a higher view of things, which is important. But really, it's number 2, the receptive force, reflect. This is about the divine feminine within all of us. And so we are working heavily with the receptive force, as we will, for our main theme and so forth, and moving into 2026. But let me just jump quickly to this. This is the astrological chart for the new moon in Sagittarius that's happening on the 20th of December. And something that was very interesting with this chart, when as you know, I intuitively read the chart, I look at the angles, any oppositions or trines and sextiles and squares and so forth. And immediately I heard a phrase that I have never heard before. And that phrase was and is concentrated eclipse. And so a concentrated eclipse spiritually signifies powerful, transformative energy, acting as a cosmic pause for deep introspection, releasing the old and embracing new beginnings, disrupting the normal to reveal hidden truths, prompting purification and calling for spiritual readiness or alignment with divine will, varying from a call to manifest, which is a New Age philosophy, to a reminder of judgment or redemption, which is in the Christian faith. It's a potent portal for profound change. So this Sagittarius new moon It's conjunct the galactic center. We'll get to that in a moment. The super full moon that was in Gemini, Neptune turning direct. This is potent energy. It's a potent portal for profound change. Not just gentle intention setting, but rather shaking loose old patterns to usher in authentic growth. It is about transformation and change. It's a dramatic disruption of light and dark, symbolizing major life shifts, breaking old habits, and embracing new paths. Introspection and inner truth. It pulls focus inward, unveiling buried feelings, desires, and deeper self-knowledge, acting like a new moon on steroids. This is a new moon. So this concentrated eclipse, that phrase, again, I've never heard of it before. Here we are. So it's talking about a new moon on steroids. Release and renewal, a time to let go of what no longer serves you, shadows, old stories, and set powerful intentions for a brighter future. We've talked about this a lot, about emptying our vessels, polishing our stone, making room for the new. And so here, right on time, and that, let me just bring it up really quick, and it's Sagittarius, it's the archer. It's about hitting the bullseye and really this release. And in this chart, let me just pull it back up. You'll see that all of the action is actually centered or directed, pointing towards Saturn and Neptune. They're in the lower right of the wheel between the 5th and 6th houses. So here, Neptune's just gone direct, never to be back in Pisces in our lifetime. Again, it's a 165-year cycle. It's going to, and both of them, Saturn and Neptune, are going to co-present at that 0 degrees of Aries in the early part of 2026, like with January, latter January, for a good year plus. They're going to co-present. This is major endings. It's a 9-year into a 10-year. That's a small cycle. These are big cycles. Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius since, the French-American and Industrial Revolution. So you get the magnitude. And here the unseen is talking about this concentrated eclipse. And lastly, just to say, seen by many as a sign from the divine, it's about divine communication, a movement or a moment to connect with the divine, the cosmos, and universal rhythms. So all of this entire journey of Weekly Wisdom and Insights has been about aligning your soul source connection, honing and polishing your stone, emptying your vessel, making space for the new, letting go of the old stories, the scripts, the labels, the identities, the masks, all of this stuff that actually weighs us down as opposed to, liberates us, frees us up to take on this next octave of being. And it's as above, so below. We've talked about that a lot. As above, so below. All the major outer planets are changing signs within a 16-month window. It hasn't happened in eons that, like a Swiss clock, everything's going click, 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 click to advance humanity and the whole of the whole forward. So let's jump to our main theme. And that is 2026, a new perspective - approach to life, divine intervention. So this is about a whole new, so 2026 coming up, it's all about a new perspective, how we see things, literally. Keep in mind, divine feminine, the divine. How the divine feminine, the receptive force, for 2,000 plus years has been, oppressed and suppressed and maligned and, just really had a rough go. Well, here she comes. And it is number 1 from the unseen this week. The receptive force takes the lead, overcoming the pain of the past. And when they said this, when I heard this from the unseen, the receptive force takes the lead, it was like a racehorse announcer. It was literally like that thoroughbred, the race, and the receptive force takes the lead, that she outperforms, she delivers, and she's, it's like the Triple Crown. She comes forward at exactly the right moment. That awakens that within all of us. Again, this is not about gender and sexuality or anything of that. This transcends all of that, because we have both divine masculine and divine feminine within us, regardless of gender. So the issue here is how this awakening and this pivotal transformation of the divine feminine, the receptive force, soul source connection, takes the lead, overcoming the pain of the past. And we have divine intervention. So divine intervention means a deity, God, the divine, actively stepping into human affairs to change a situation, often through miracles or unexplainable events, guiding destiny, providing protection, or answering prayers, seen as a supernatural act beyond natural laws to bring about a specific outcome, like a miraculous rescue or a life-altering turn of events. It's the belief that divine power influences human lives, sometimes subtly, like guiding thoughts, or dramatically, like parting the Red Sea. We've talked about this too. Just because what we would call biblical events, occurrences, haven't, air quotes, happened in 2,000 years, doesn't mean they won't. They've happened before, they'll happen again. And so key aspects are the divine directly interfacing and interacting with the natural courses of events. The event defies normal explanation, leading people to attribute it to the divine, meaning it's something that can't be explained. It occurs to fulfill a divine plan, bringing glory to God the divine, or answer pleas for help. It can range from produced and profound miracles, like a resurrection, parting the seas, to more subtle shifts in fortune and destiny. And we had that aspect about, those that will rise and those that will fall. And so here, this is speaking about this divine intervention is about, it can be from the subtle of in fortune and destiny. And lastly, examples of it are like the biblical Exodus, Master Jesus' miracles, personal near-death experiences that feels divinely orchestrated. Welcome, Colleen. So 2026, a new perspective -- approach to life, divine intervention. And the receptive force takes the lead, overcoming the pain of the past. And it was said like this radio announcer. So there's a great, there's an intensity, when you're listening to the racetrack announcer, there's an intensity to the event, to the moment, to the energy. And of course, when the receptive force takes the lead, crosses the finish line, there's euphoria there in the announcer's voice, and in the fact that, like the Triple Crown, you won the race. So let's jump back, and I just want to go back quickly to our astrological influences, because here it is. It is this concentrated eclipse energy. Again, a phrase I've never heard before. But we're looking at Uranus is retrograde, Jupiter's retrograde. They'll go direct later. Saturn and Mercury went direct. We had that super full moon in Gemini. It was intense, followed right by the Neptune direct, turning direct at that anaretic degree, that final degree of the final sign of the zodiac. And now coming up on the 20th is the Sagittarius new moon. 21st is the solstice. So, and all of this pointing, just bringing that, you can see, and bookending, look at that, the in the lower left corner of the wheel, there's the moon and the sun. They're conjunct at 28 degrees Sagittarius. Bookending them on the left is Venus, on the right is Mars, divine feminine, divine masculine, and they are squaring. Those are the red lines. They're squaring. It's a frictional aspect. It's energy that needs to be released. Saturn and Neptune at these very final degrees of Pisces before they enter Aries. And then you have that mini grand trine, that's a little mini blue triangle between Uranus, expect the unexpected, Saturn and Neptune, and Pluto, newly in Aquarius. That's been playing out, will continue to play out for some time. And then at the top of the chart is Jupiter. It's conjunct the midheaven, and it is trining Saturn and Neptune. So you see this concentrated eclipse energy, this the way the unseen is describing it. It's pointing, what they're saying to me in the moment, it's pointing to miraculous advance, change, miraculous change. And, whew, pardon me, Lord knows we could use some really, miraculous, positive, beautiful change. 2026, a new perspective hyphen approach to life. It means how we go about life, how we literally think, breathe, operate, and that the receptive force, and let's just go to that quickly because this is from divination.com. It's hexagram 2. It's the receptive power. So it is the divine feminine. And great receptivity attracts great gifts and great blessings. A natural responsiveness attracts success through support and perseverance rather than bold action. Thus, a wise person demonstrates strength like a powerful but gentle mare. This auspicious hexagram, consisting of all yin lines, represents the power of the feminine principle, which has not been honored in our modern world. However, such receptivity is much more powerful and healing than we think or than we know. The receptive force is sensual and subtle and can be overlooked by too much thinking, talking, and planning. When spring comes, does the grass plan to grow? This is a time to concentrate on realities rather than potentials, with how to respond to a situation rather than how to direct or manipulate it. That direct and manipulate is the old, the Piscean patriarchal. It's the ego, mind, personality, human, the I, the me, versus soul source connection, the receptive, listening, knowing, and going, doing as guided. The mature feminine allows herself to be guided by a higher power and is skilled at graceful acceptance. Spiritually, her quiet contribution is highly effective, bringing a deeply felt kind of success. So when we are this quiet contribution and when we are in alignment, our soul is in alignment, our human is in alignment with our soul, with source, with connection, the divine, it's a game changer. It's a new perspective and approach to life. It inverts everything. And yet, we're the guest. We're not the host. It's the master weaver. We're the guest. So when we connect into that form of guidance, GPS guidance, it's far more than we, the human, would ever think to do, think possible. It's just extraordinary. And it just means we need to be in alignment with it. From divination.com, hexagram 2, the receptive force. Do not be too assertive at this time. When you try to direct things now, you are liable to become confused or alienated. Opening yourself to receive what you attract should be your primary concern. So remember, energy, everything's energy. So thoughts, actions, words, deeds. Allow this moment to come to us, to come to you. Be in alignment, be listening. Because when we force something, we end up with that energy, we end up with that result, that outcome. And then we have to work with the consequences of that versus listening. Okay, I'm being told to be patient. I'm being told it's not time yet. Let us follow that wisdom. So opening yourself to receive what you attract should be your primary concern. Be patient and take your time. Here's our first quote. Draw strength from mindfulness, and you will be doubly fortunate. It's a beautiful image of a woman sitting in meditation with her hands in the prayer position. This beautiful, draw strength from mindfulness, and you will be doubly fortunate. Why? Well, because you're tapped in, you're listening. That's where the gold, the magic is. Focus more on feeling than on action. Feeling meaning knowing, intuition, listening. Be broad and deep in your attitude so that you accept everything that comes with grace and equanimity. Be receptive and spacious like the ocean. Let the river of changes flow to you. You might allow a person or a partner to take the lead for now. Strive for a natural responsiveness that is based on inner strength rather than outer show. This is all about inner wisdom, inner knowing, inner strength, listening, and going as guided. You will be able to go further by letting go of control rather than forging ahead under your own steam. And this brings us to our next quote. Receptive power arises through alignment with creative power, not in opposition to it. So the receptive power, divine feminine, arises through alignment with creative power, divine masculine, not in opposition to it. And we've talked about this a lot, that the Aquarian matriarchal we the people era is not the divine feminine over the masculine, which is what the patriarchal Piscean is. It's the equilibrium of them. It's the harmony of them. It's the divine masculine in service to the divine feminine. The receptive force, the divine feminine, takes the lead, overcoming the pain of the past. And of course, we know this, what is nurturing and maternal heals. So it overcoming the pain of the past. We will overcome the pain of the past through the receptive force, through a new perspective and a new approach to life, through divine intervention, through going as guided, listening and going as guided. Number 2 from the unseen, no nonsense activation, outcome, results. And they said, be-get ready for the blast off. And we had this, last week or the week before, blast off. Things are moving fast. So the unseen is saying this energy that we're talking about with this Sagittarius new moon, that's a concentrated eclipse. It's like a new moon on steroids. Well, no nonsense activation, outcome, results. Get ready for blast off. And this has to do with the fact, and I'm going to go to it now this is from Pam Youngins at North Point Journal. And what she's talking about is how this new Sagittarius new moon that's occurring on the 20th is conjunct. It's a degree away from our galactic center, the very central point of our universe. So Pam Youngins, North Point Journal, a galactic new moon. At the center of our galaxy is a supermassive black hole about the size of 4 million suns. Our solar system and our entire galaxy rotate around this mysterious point in space, which is appropriately named the galactic center. From Earth's perspective, the galactic center is located at 27 degrees Sagittarius. This new moon on Friday, on the 19th, 20th, depending on where you are, occurs at 28 degrees, 24 arc minutes Sagittarius, and thus is tightly conjunct the galactic center. Astrologer Philip Sedgwick has done extensive research on the metaphysical aspects of the galactic center and shares these insights. And this is from Philip Sedgwick through Pam Youngins North Point Journal. The galactic center emits a wide array of powerful radiation, most notably infrared. This infrared energy pressures the subconscious mind, providing the release of learned behavior and memories. You can't make this up if you try. This emptying of the vessel, this polishing the stone, the letting go of the masks and the identities and the old scripts and labels and all this stuff. And here, astrologer Philip Sedgwick and North Point Journal, Pam Youngins North Point Journal is quoting him that this infrared energy pressures the subconscious mind, providing the release of learned behavior and memories, both negative and positive, all in the interest of moving forward. The energetic crowding process pushes our mentally, emotionally stored data, to clear space for new information to enter both the conscious and subconscious minds. So this concentrated eclipse, as the unseen is calling this Sagittarius new moon, this new moon on steroids, that is tightly conjunct the galactic center, per astrologer Philip Sedgwick, this is about clearing space for new information. To help us conceptualize how the galactic center works energetically, Mr. Sedgwick uses the analogy of running a defrag process on a hard drive, in which, quote, wrong or undesired segments of information and knowledge are deleted, wiped from the consciousness with no trace. At the end of the defrag, all available storage capacity waits at the ready. No nonsense activation, outcome, results. B, get ready for the blast off. At the end of the defrag, all available storage capacity waits at the ready for the next inflow of information, a new perspective, a new approach to life, divine intervention, galactic center. You see where, this is no joke from on behalf of the as above, so below, the divine, the unseen. Continuing from Philip Sedgwick. Quote, the galactic center's infrared jolt to the energy field naturally induces the release of past memories that preclude an individual from making progress in life. The mental barriers to understanding a new idea or receiving insight gracefully yield, the receptive force gracefully yield under this influence. It's the receptive force, it's the receiving. Once the galactic center has cleared the consciousness of undesired knowledge and beliefs, we can then receive a download of information. In this context, Mr. Sedgwick calls the galactic center one of the creator's loudspeaker systems, and informs us that, quote, the information from the galactic center is incisive, direct, informative, and about 6 to 9 months ahead of its time. It's advanced. It's advanced wisdom. It's advanced technology. It's advanced knowing. When the sun and moon align on December 19th, they will activate the galactic center defrag process, clearing the way for new insights and understandings. This influence will be observable in various ways throughout the new lunar cycle. And that's not all. I mean, this is intense energy. Put in the comments. I don't know about you all, but what the unseen is talking about, what Pam Youngins at North Point Journal and Philip Sedgwick are talking about, and how the unseen is literally saying to us, 2026, it's a paradigm shift. It's a whole new world. It's a new perspective, a new approach. It's divine intervention. It's the receptive force. It's this defrag of our conscious and subconscious minds. And it's no nonsense activation, outcome, and results. B, get ready for blast off, because I believe it was Astro Butterfly, there's really no turning back, nor would we want to. However, the point is, there's no turning back. It's number 3 from the unseen, a higher view, vista of things. And this had to do with that fly like an eagle medicine. And they said, you're no longer grounded at the gate. All aboard. And this, pardon me, I've got to put my specs on, in this raised voice. So a higher view and vista of things. Fly like an eagle, it's eagle medicine. We have a higher overview of things. You're no longer grounded at the gate. And then this shouting voice, all aboard. And then mixed metaphors. All of this speaking to an expansion of understanding. I'm going to come back to mixed metaphors in a second. I just want to finish up with Pam Youngins, so North Point Journal. So she said, and there's more. Even if it were not aligned, meaning this new moon in Sagittarius, even if it were not aligned with the galactic center, this last new moon of 2025 would still be considered a powerful event. The lunation is square, that's a frictional aspect, so it's square both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, thus activating the Saturn-Neptune conjunction and requiring us to face a reality that we may have been avoiding. Potential manifestations include confusion or discouragement as illusions fade and masks dissolve. Core beliefs are challenged and may be rewritten. The status and integrity of partnerships, alliances, financial matters, and creative endeavors are highlighted with the new moon conjunct both Venus and the asteroid Juno in the late degrees of Sagittarius. The lunation is also separated by only 5 degrees from Mars in early Capricorn, increasing determination, self-reliance, and the ability to pour our energy into a longer-term goal. Everything, the unseen, the divine, everyone is conspiring on our behalf for this present future energy outcome, transition, change, defrag. It's a longer term goal, and yet it's immediate, it's here. And remember, the unseen said some shows ago that with Pluto in Aquarius and everything, that it would be front loaded. These energies would be front loaded, meaning they would be most intense for the first 1, 3, 5 years, and then kind of mellow out, dissipate, mellow out. So there's going to be an intensity in this transition, in this renewal process. Pam Youngins. Restlessness and rebelliousness are woven into the fabric of the new moon due to a very tight quincunx aspect to Uranus. Unexpected or surprising events can occur when the sideways spinning planet is strongly activated. Meanwhile, Luna's quincunx to Sedna in early Gemini tells stories of deception, betrayal, and abandonment, offering us the rewards of our efforts and for our attention to self-care. The new moon is also trine both wounded healer Chiron and Eris, warrior for women's rights. With these lunar aspects, we are overcoming victim consciousness and gaining the confidence to take positive, assertive, unapologetic action. So wounded healer Chiron, conjunct Eris, the warrior of women's rights. The receptive force takes the lead, overcoming the pain of the past. That's the warrior, that's the victory, that's the 6 of Wands in the tarot. And this is, of course, Eris, representing the warrior of women's rights, and Chiron representing the wounded healer and how we heal. And finally, a crossroads. The new moon is also tightly conjunct the asteroid Hecate at 27 degrees 50 arc minutes Sagittarius, who is known as, quote, the goddess of the crossroads. This mysterious figure is depicted as carrying torches that light the way in times of darkness. In ancient portraits, she is shown to have 3 heads, each of which looks in a different direction. The Greeks believed that Hecate was the guardian of travelers and those who were lost. She represented wisdom and the light that guides us across thresholds and through uncertain liminal times in which we can perceive both potential and danger. Intense energies. Take a higher view, higher vista of things. Fly like an eagle. Use eagle medicine. Hecate is here, wounded healer Chiron is here. And, pardon me, I just lost my train of thought. Eris is here. So there's so much conspiring on our behalf for this transition, this crossing this threshold, this liminal moment, and that you're no longer grounded at the gate and this shouting all aboard, and then the phrase mixed metaphors. So I want to come back to mixed metaphors. Well, mixed metaphors, in a spiritual context, the use of mixed metaphors can deepen understanding of complex, abstract truths by offering multiple, complementary perspectives that prevent limiting the subject, such as the nature of God or the divine or the path of spiritual growth, to a single narrow image. This is talking about, the unseen is talking about the fact that it's like they're showing me, so we've been given the example of the thoroughbred at the racetrack and the racetrack announcer. And then they're showing me a Clydesdale horse where the blinders are on. The Clydesdales have, blinders left and right, so they don't have peripheral vision. They can only see directly forward. This is speaking this whole 2026, a new perspective, approach to life, divine intervention, the receptive force, mixed metaphors. This is going to deepen our understanding of complex, abstract truths by offering multiple complementary perspectives that prevent limiting the subject. Our understanding of the unseen, the divine, the receptive force, the role she plays, its spiritual significance, rather than being a literary error, the intentional mixing of metaphors in religious and spiritual texts is a deliberate rhetorical device with specific purposes. Spiritual concepts such as the multifaceted nature of God, the divine, are too rich to be captured by a single image. Combining images, meaning God as both father and mother, warrior and artisan, highlights areas of overlap and nuance that would be overlooked in isolation. When a reader encounters contrasting images, they are prompted to engage more deeply with the text to find the coherence between them, leading to stronger feelings and deeper insights than hard, cold facts might provide. This might be, and again, remember that defrag, the hard drive. We have the wisdom that we have, the knowledge that we have. It's been written onto our hard drives, individually and collectively. Now comes this defrag process that removes everything that's not necessary. It's going to clean up the hard drive, emptying the vessel for new information that's going to expand us, an expansion of understanding, this higher view, higher octave. So our hard drives, our operating systems are going to be defragged. They're going to be expanded. Things activated. We've talked about what scientists have called dark or junk DNA, and the unseen speaks of divine DNA. And that activation, well, what wisdom and knowledge, what information comes with that awakening, that activation, that writes new perspectives, new opportunities onto our hard drives. Lastly, by presenting a variety of images, religious writers encourage an attitude of wonder and humility, challenging the reader not to get stuck on one particular and potentially limiting metaphor. This prevents human understanding from becoming, quote, an idol that restricts the infinite richness of the divine reality. Figurative language uses concrete, everyday images to speak passionately about abstract, transcendent truths. A mixed metaphor can create a wonderful challenge by juxtaposing images in a way that suggests the subject is beyond full human comprehension, a mystery that inspires contemplation. And here, a higher view and vista of things, fly like an eagle medicine. You are no longer grounded at the gate. That's a metaphor for an image of an airplane. So aviation travel. You're no longer grounded at the gate. All aboard, well, that speaks to either trains or ships. So there's a mixing of metaphors, these mixed metaphors, and expansion of understanding. It takes us to number 4 from the unseen, which is always foundational. 4s are foundational. And they said, round and round and round it goes. And then they put in parens, evolution. Where it stops, nobody knows. And then the wheel of fortune. And they said, it's all or nothing. No half measures will do, will suffice. So I just want to take us to round and round and round we go. So the phrase round and round it goes, where it stops nobody knows, originally associated with games of chance, carries several potent spiritual and philosophical meanings related to life's cyclical nature, the concept of karma, the unpredictability of fate, and the importance of surrendering control to a higher power. The spinning motion represents the endless repetitive cycles inherent in existence. The continuous loop symbolizes birth, life, death, and rebirth. It's reincarnation, or samsara in Hinduism and Buddhism. Just as a wheel spins without a clear beginning or end, life is seen as a constant process of renewal and change. This is also the phoenix medicine that we've spoken about. The circular nature can signify eternity and timelessness, suggesting that while events repeat in cycles, seasons, days, human experiences, we've talked about astrology being cyclical, not identical, they are part of an infinite ongoing process that is beyond human comprehension. We're going to be, let in on a greater or a more vast array of mysteries, secrets, perspectives, living with this upcoming energy and with this Sagittarius new moon, this concentrated eclipse energy. On a personal level, it can refer to the repetitive, sometimes self-defeating cycles in life where individuals keep making the same choices or experiencing the same issues, running around in circles, without making real progress unless they make a conscious change. That conscious change is to harness your free will to recognize what you're doing, stop and pivot. Listen to the unseen, to your soul source connection. Harness the divine masculine, the creative force, in service to the divine feminine, the receptive force. That's a game changer. Then we break the cycles of secular running around in circles. The uncertainty of where the wheel will stop points to the unpredictable nature of life and destiny. The phrase emphasizes the human lack of ultimate control over outcomes. Many spiritual perspectives suggest surrendering this control and trusting in a divine plan or a higher power, as nobody knows the ultimate destination, because we're the guest, not the host. But our soul knows, source knows, the divine knows, the unseen knows. And it's speaking to us all the time. It's just a matter of whether we are listening to it and going as guided. This brings us to the Wheel of Fortune, this beautiful image by Brigitte Ashwood at Luminous Tarot. This evokes the classical, so the Wheel of Fortune, this evokes the classical and medieval concept of the Wheel of Fortune, where one's status or luck can rise and fall unpredictably, and the stopping point is purely a matter of chance or divine will, not entirely personal effort. A spiritual meaning can be the call to embrace the present moment and the inherent uncertainty of the future, rather than constantly striving to know or control what lies ahead. This is, Jesus, take the wheel, take your hand, Carrie Underwood, take your hands off the wheel. Because again, when we try to manipulate and control, it creates stagnation and it creates goo, shadow energy, lack. Where when we just say, okay, I may not know, it's the unknown, but I'm in alignment with the unknown. And so by default, there's knowing. There's a knowing that that's what I'm doing. There's a knowing that I'm trusting. There's a knowing that I'm listening. There's a knowing that I will be guided. I will be led. And thereby, I align and I take action or I take inaction, whatever the case may be, as guided. And lastly, it's about cause and effect, the principles of karma. The idea that what goes around comes around is a core spiritual concept similar to the law of karma, where actions have consequences that eventually return to the doer. The round and round motion illustrates this circulation of positive or negative energy and actions within one's life or across lifetimes. In essence, the phrase round and round it goes, where it stops nobody knows, is a powerful metaphor for the flow of life's journey. a journey that is continuous and ultimately in the hands of forces beyond individual knowledge or control. One can say that it's I, me. One is welcome to do that. You are welcome to do that. However, it negates the vastness of who you are, the vastness of your origin, the vastness of what is guiding you every step of the way. And so again, like the divine feminine, that has been oppressed and suppressed and maligned and diminished and negated, this is your soul. This is your soul source connection. This is the divine, the unseen, that has been treated in the same manner. And at what point do we wake up? Because they're saying, be ready, get ready for the blast off, because it's upon us. It's here. And lastly, the Wheel of Fortune is the 10th card, and it's the 10th major arcana in the tarot. And it signifies destiny, change, and life's inevitable cycles, representing the ups and downs we can't control, reminding us that good times and bad are temporary. It suggests turning points, luck, karma, and spiritual evolution, often appearing when major shifts in fortune, career, or relationships are occurring. Symbolically, it features a revolving wheel with figures like the Sphinx, which represents wisdom, and Anubis, representing transformation, on its rim, surrounded by four winged creatures represented by the fixed zodiac signs Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Its ruler is Jupiter. Jupiter is here in this. Look at Jupiter conjunct the midheaven, trining. It's a positive aspect in astrology. Trining Saturn and Neptune. And its element is fire. It's the creative force. So now we move to, telling you there's a lot here. Number five from the unseen, denoting change. It is both, it's our mantra, and the word is abracadabra. And of course, this is associated with quote unquote magic, right? Abracadabra. It's also what abracadabra means is I will create as I speak. That's literally what it means. So abracadabra means I will create as I speak. This is potent and important, this mantra. Continue utilizing it, religiously, consistently. Keep this and bear this in mind, because what we are being reminded of is this ancient wisdom where something abracadabra has been trivialized, if you will, down to something that's in a animated feature film or something, or play with magic, or even ridiculed, like, oh, abracadabra and bunnies come out of a hat. But at its origin, at its core, I will create as I speak. It means the words, the thoughts, the words that come out of our mouths are creating, manifesting our reality, our existence, our experience, individually, collectively. So spiritually, abracadabra means I will create as I speak, stemming from Aramaic abracadabra and Hebrew roots, signifying the immense power of spoken words to manifest reality, heal, or protect, rooted in ancient beliefs about creation and divine utterance. This is about like chanting and mantras, the words that are coming out of our mouths. It acts as a spiritual tool for manifestation, encouraging intentional speech and thought to shape one's world, and historically served as a powerful charm against illness. The most common interpretation links it to divine creation, where God spoke things into existence, suggesting our words carry creative energy. In esoteric traditions, it's used to unlock consciousness and manifest desires, highlighting the connection between mind, word, and reality. Historically, it was inscribed in triangular patterns on amulets to ward off sickness, particularly malaria, as a powerful spell. Some theories connect it to Hebrew Ab, father, Ben, son, and Ruach HaKodesh, I hope I didn't, Holy Spirit, linking it to divine forces. Using the word as a reminder to be mindful of what you speak, ensuring your inner voice and outer words are positive and constructive. This is how you can apply this spiritually daily. And reciting it to activate, so in activation, reciting it to activate spiritual energy or focus intent on a specific outcome, making it a powerful mantra for personal creation. This beautiful, I'm just going to bring it up, this beautiful, and the image is of this iridescent rainbow colored lit up tree of life. Abracadabra. I will create as I speak. Very powerful reminder as we move into the new 2026, this new perspective and this new approach to life with divine intervention and the receptive force. Because again, there's power in remembering ancient wisdom. So abracadabra isn't a silly, trivialized word or statement used by magicians and so forth in animated films or something, or at a fun house. It's literally a reminder of the divine, of how we create. And this, I will create as I speak. And to use this word, abracadabra, throughout our day with focused intention, with purity, can't say that enough, the purity of intention with purity, but harness the power and the magic that lies within it. It's number 5, and 5 denotes change. So this is how we evolve all of this. So, and let me go to our key word. Our key word is recompense. And recompense, and you see this beautiful image again, Lady Justice, and she has these beautiful scales. And of course, there are 2 scales, correct? So in the Bible, recompense means to give back an equivalent for something done, suffered, or given, encompassing both reward for good deeds, like the divine rewarding the faithful, and punishment for evil, with the divine acting as the ultimate judge who justly repays each person according to their actions, urging believers to wait for divine justice rather than seeking personal revenge. It signifies the divine's meticulous equity, ensuring loyalty is rewarded and evil confronted, often in future judgment or a coming kingdom. So that's from a biblical standpoint. Recompense. It means, again, who's rising, who's falling, who's rising from obscurity, who's falling from grace. And that it is divine intervention. This is divine recompense. This rewarding, giving back an equivalent for something done, suffered, or given. And it speaks to, there's many, divine justice, reward and punishment, waiting on the divine, this contrast to human retribution, because unlike human justice, which can be flawed, biblical recompense or divine recompense is based on the divine's perfect standards, differentiating it from simple human compensation. So again, it's when we move below the surface, many times an event will occur and we will immediately be in judgment. We will immediately react. And yet, when we prevent that from happening, when we stop ourselves from doing that and we just stand back, we can allow a greater contemplation, a higher view of things, a deeper view of things. And with time, these things play out. In the moment, it can be gut-wrenching. And yet, over time, it doesn't mean that the event that occurred wasn't traumatic or tragic or life-altering and so forth. It just means that we're willing to look below the surface to find the wisdom, the pearl, and this recompense about how divine recompense, how we're being given. And in this image, again, the female image, Lady Justice, the scales, and how that's being meted out, being given, but from a higher force, a higher plane, and thereby, we don't need to take, in a negative way, we don't need to take things into our own control in our own hands. Allow divine recompense to adjudicate, mete out, whether that's something positive or negative. Because again, it's in a sense like karma, energy. Everything's energy. And so karma is the balance. It's not retribution. It's the balance, the harmony. So if we're putting out something less than wonderful, that the boomerang, it's already coming back to us. And it will happen in spades. It always does. It may take, air quotes, time, but there's a divine, reasoning for it. We all play our roles, no matter how challenging that is to bear witness to, is what I wanted to say. So last but not least, let's move to Astrology by Lauren. And she is talking about transitions and Thor's hammer. On Wednesday, Neptune made its direct station in the last degree of the last sign of the zodiac. And like a water funnel forming around the drain of our lives, we see many aspects of our lives dissolving, receding, slowly transitioning. All the outer planets are in the process of transitioning. Pluto entered Aquarius last year. Saturn and Neptune both entered Aries and then retrograded back to Pisces for some unfinished business. The same with Uranus after it entered Gemini and now has returned to Taurus. Neptune will re-enter Aries on January 26th, as will Saturn on February 13th. So by February 13th, Saturn and Neptune are going to be at 0 degrees. They're going to be conjunct at 0 degrees Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. And they are going to co-present for, I think it's 12, 14, 16 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. So again, high Neptune, high ideals, the highest ideals. Yes, it represents illusion, delusion, but these higher aspirations, ideals, co-presenting with Saturn, the great teacher, the taskmaster, how to make this, how to ground that, how to bring this into reality together. Uranus will re-enter Gemini at the end of April. In the meantime, we remain in this waiting area before finally crossing the threshold into the next era of our lives. A part of us may be clinging to the familiar, hesitant to let go of what we know. But until we are willing to do so, we will not reach the further shore. And there's a quote that the Unseen gave me years ago that said, "We know what we know until we know." It means that everything is ever changing. Be willing to evolve, to change. Because to this point, Astrology by Lauren, in the meantime, we remain in this waiting area before we cross this threshold, and we might be clinging to something familiar, hesitant to let go of what we know. We know what we know until we know. But be willing to let go. Be willing to change, evolve. She says, however, until we are willing to do so, we will not reach the further shore. The world is shifting, and as it does so, we are being brought along for the ride. And now we are going to be figuring out how and where we will be fitting in to the new scheme that is emerging. Out of the ashes of the old, a new world is emerging. And somewhere in each and everyone's lives, we will resonate with that shift, that change, that awareness of something new, something imminent waiting for us just around the corner. It is literally upon us. It is like, we're using here the image of blast off, this, but it's like being shot out of a cannon. This is the energy. And it is the wheel of fortune. The cyclical nature of evolution, of life, and how we go back to where we began, an octave higher. This isn't about repeating the octave. It's about elevating, transcending, lifting up, that defrag moment that astrologer Philip Roderick is talking about. Astrology by Lauren. When Neptune is asking, what Neptune is asking of us now is to take the very essence, the accumulation of all our experiences, our lives, distilled to its most basic elements so that we may bring these with us into the next phase of our lives. This is about bringing the best of the best and only the best of us into the next chapter, into the next era. So this is where, honing and polishing your stone and emptying our vessels and, defragging and decluttering and making ourselves lighter, ready for the adventure to come. Because that's what is before us. You don't want to have some extraordinary opportunity present itself only to have to say, oh no, I've got 6 months or a year worth of stuff I haven't addressed, so I couldn't possibly. Wah, wah. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be in that place or space. You want to be ready for blast off. So be ready, get ready. Astrology by Lauren. And in this process of distillation, we are also being asked to connect with our own inner Neptune, whether that be spirit, the heart of the matter, or the very essence of our own being. It is this part of us that knows right from wrong, whether we call it conscience, the whisper of intuition, that transcendent voice of understanding. It is this that will serve as a guide as we enter this next phase of our lives. This is your soul source connection. That's what she's talking about here. Hence the necessity to connect with our own inner Neptune. Neptune wants for us. The unseen wants for us. The all that is wants for us, and they want more for us. And that's what's being delivered. That is what's going to happen. As above, so below. Lastly, Mars at the very last degrees of Sagittarius was square Saturn and now Neptune. The Sun, also at these late degrees of Sagittarius, is approaching its squares to both Saturn and Neptune, culminating with the new moon on the 19th. These squares, or the 20th, depending on where you are, these squares are making us all too aware of the transitions that we are being presented with. It can feel like wading through quicksand. It can feel like sadness. It can feel like doubt. Mars, Saturn, and Sun, Saturn can be resistant, avoidant, and riddled with obstacles. Mars, Neptune feels drained, sometimes even defeated and deflated. So, if you find it difficult to get things done over these weeks, these are the culprits. Self-acceptance and patience are required. Let us all be kind to ourselves. It is this moment of up-leveling, and it's about being proactive and listening. Doing what's necessary. Take the necessary steps in a receptive force manner, meaning I know what to do or not to do, and I'm listening and I'm going as guided. And finally, Thor's hammer, this astrology by Lauren. Thor's hammer is a name given to a configuration, an astrological configuration, of at least 3 planets that form what looks like a clunky spear, with 2 planets forming a 90-degree angle, that's a square, aspect to one another. A third one comes to the opposite midpoint of the 2 planets, making a 135-degree angle to each. Stealthily and yet powerful. What was previously an aching conflict suddenly becomes quite powerful, quite obvious, and can no longer be denied. The unseen has been talking for weeks about how it's full frontal. Everything's coming at us. We can't ignore it. We have to face it. We have to defrag it, cleanse it, purify it as we move into the new. On today, Wednesday, Mercury insinuates itself into the lingering Jupiter-Chiron square, forming Thor's hammer. Quick and fleeting, this configuration will be most evident from Tuesday through Thursday, so it's quick and fast. However, to overcome the discomfort of Thor's hammer, we need to face it head on. This is not a configuration for the weak of heart. It requires a willingness to persist, even though it makes things harder. This is because the conflict we are presented with is so ingrained and so persistent, like an old habit or something we have taken for granted, that when we try to change it, it keeps circling back. Well, here comes the defrag. Here comes this Sagittarius new moon conjunct the galactic center. And we're proactive. It's the hexagram 51 and the tower. It's either a proactive tower or it's a reactive tower. That's up to us. Because that's the way things are, pardon me, or always have been. It's what we had become accustomed to, but eventually, with effort, we can create radical, transformative, and profound changes in our own lives. Because we don't have to wait for this new moon conjunct the galactic center to defrag our hard drives. We can do that as a matter of daily business. Where was I? Where am I today? And we rewrite, we retrain our brains, we rewrite the scripts of our lives by emptying our vessels, by doing what's necessary, by being proactive. That's a game changer. That's a consistent maintenancing of our hard drive, our operating system. Astrology by Lauren. Just because we are accustomed to things being a certain way doesn't make them right. The old narratives, the guilt, the shame, the habits, the ancient wounds that rear their heads. Mercury is making us aware of our own undoing as it navigates the Jupiter-Chiron square, which becomes exact next week on the 21st. Mercury brings awareness. So fleeting it may not be loud, this Thor's hammer, but it could be life-changing, telling us this cannot go on as it has. So again, if you get that knowing, if you just know there, and the unseen, they speak with a quiet force. It can be loud, but it's not monkey mind. It's not ego mind, personality, human chatter. It's an intense pressure. It's a knowing and a pressure. This is what Astrology by Lauren is speaking about. So Mercury brings awareness. So fleeting it may not be loud, but it could be life-changing, telling us this cannot go on as it has. That's a knowing. You'll know. I've got to make this change. I must do this. Or what happens when I don't? Well, you get a cosmic 2x4. Or opportunities pass you by. They may repeat, they may not. Ignoring it won't make it go away. We are needing to do the hard work of rewriting the narrative. And lastly, she concludes with a quote by Margaret Atwood. Ignoring isn't the same as ignorance. You have to work at it. So there's a clarity and a clearness here of the message that you can see interwoven through these various different aspects, from the unseen to the I Ching, the hexagram 2, to Astrology by Lauren, to Pam Youngins at North Point Journal, to Philip Roderick, the other astrologer. All of this is pointing to this moment of change, of a new perspective, a new approach to life, this divine intervention. The receptive force takes the lead and overcomes the pain of the past. No nonsense activation, outcomes, results. B, get ready for the blast off. There's a defrag because of this concentrated eclipse, Sagittarius new moon energy, in that it's conjunct the galactic center. It's going to offer us a higher view, a higher vista of things. It's eagle medicine. You're no longer grounded at the gate. All aboard, mixed metaphors, and expansion, of understanding. Round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. It's the wheel of fortune, and it's all or nothing. No half measures will do or suffice. You're either all in or you're not. It's either a proactive cosmic lift and whatever, or it's a reactive one. Tower. And lastly, abracadabra. I will create as I speak. That item alone is a life game changer. Just keep saying to yourself, abracadabra, as you work with the purity of intention throughout your day, throughout your life, so that I will create as I speak. You're aligned with the divine, with your soul, with the feminine, the divine feminine, and how that is a game changer, and it's in complete harmony and alignment with what's before us, what's to come. Can't wait to see what's happening next. We're going to cover, as I said, the solstice, the December solstice that's occurring on the 21st in next week's show, and that will close us out for this year, for 2025, and we will pick it back up in very early January in 2026, a 10-year, a new beginnings. But we will see you again next week. Until then, be well. I love you all, and thank you for absolute everything, your presence, your energy, everything. I know I say that a lot. It means the world to me, and I love being on this journey with you. So until then, namaste. We'll see you next week.